So here we are for the next report that we generate, but now we're actually going to go into a little bit more detail. So rather than just having a client list, let's have some report which gives us a bit more information. And what we're going to do is, I'm going to go into obviously 6, but in this report what we're going to look at is grouping things and actually looking at summary options. Summary options means that you have to have some kind of number fields available in your query or your tables to be able to do things within the report, right? Like give summaries of total costs and so forth, right? So what we're going to do is we're actually going to open this database 2.6. We're going to use the report wizard, and the report wizard, then what we're going to do is we're going to create a report which actually shows us the client payments due. So we're going to use the query which we used previously, right? So if I go over to here onto my files again, I can double click because we're in version 6, so I'll double click here and open my database. Yeah, database again, you notice it's enable content, so let's just do that. Now what I'm going to do is create. I'm going to use the report wizard again. But remember, this time we're going to be using the query, right? So payments due, the calculated query we used previously, right? So I'm going to use that, put all the parameters across. Now here, obviously I don't want to see the client ID, I'm really not interested in it, so remove that. Then I'm going to come down here and actually get rid of the discount discount part. Let me just check again just to see what we're actually taking out. So we're taking out cost and discount. That's item 2 in the instructions, right? So we leave the charge because we want to see this client, how much do they actually owe us. So go next. Right. Now here I can do a sort of like a grouping on there is the customer and there what are the charges, right? So I can do it on course as well. So I can say on a course list all the customers which for a particular charge for a course, but I'm going to leave it on client, right? So each client, and then show all the charges associated with the client. Go next. Now here's a grouping level, so I can group things by saying things like group by suburb, right? So, or actually let's take that out, more important one would be by state. So for Victoria, list all my clients, and for those clients give me all the charges. So it's really up to you. You can pick your own types of groupings if you need to. In this case I'm just going to leave it at the standard, so I just see all the customers. Go next. Now here's an important bit, is you already realised I'm just going to do how to say no sorry, I'm not going to do any kind of sorting on the fields that I've added to my report, but what I'm after is this summary option. So I'm going to click on summary option. Now what summary option does is it uses any number fields which are available within your query, and then I can actually perform calculations, or summary details can be shown in the report in certain areas, right? So if I do the sum of my charges, I can actually show that value like on detail and summary, which means that I can actually show a total of my sum of my charges per page and per summary. So it'll actually add up all of the customer charges for a particular customer, plus it'll show me an overall for the page total. Because I've actually gone detail summary, I'll actually get a total, a complete total, right at the end of the report as well. So let's just do that, say OK. Now if we go next, and in this case what I want to do, I don't want stepped or blocked, I want outline, and I want landscape again, so I can maximise my amount of information that I put into my page. You guys can pick whatever you like, or whatever type of format that you'd like to use, but outline is what I'm going to pick here. I'll do, yeah, and I'm going to say client invoices, right? And I'm going to preview, say OK. So it's going to ask me the typical questions which I had before, right? And for client 12, these are the charges which I expect, right? And this is per client. So what happens is, if I got rid of that dynamic query asking for the client, I would get a list of all of the clients, you know, page by page by page. But I just said keep the current dynamic query where we just look for a client, and then I can print their particular charges. Now here you can see that because I picked the summary option saying detail and summary, you notice the charges along here, they are returned by the query, right? By our payments due query. But the summary option means that this guy here is actually the total for this page, and then there's a grand total which actually shows. So if the grand total would have added up, if I didn't pick a particular client on the dynamic and I just listed all of my clients, I would have a grand total of money owed right at the end of the report. So, you know, page 92, for instance, which was what we had in the previous example. So now that I've actually created the report, now it's time to close the print preview and start modifying things, you know, moving things around and so forth. Now, things that you should pick up here are little formatting tricks. So if I go, which I might do in a minute, but if I look at my summary option here, I can actually look at the property sheet, right? So I can go up here to the tools and say property sheet, and I've still highlighted my grand total, but I can actually say in here that I want to see the format in what type of format. So I can actually say currency. Okay? So if I go back to my report and I run it, and previously it didn't show me the dollars, I'll go 12 again. You notice here that it's actually showing me hash, 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 hash. So a lot of people get a really worried, go, oh yeah, it's out of whack. But this field will now be shown in currency. So if I actually go to layout view, I'm not going to use design view, I'm just going to do layout view. I can click on this guy and expand him out, and you notice now it's using currency display. So you should have learned a couple of things. There's a property sheet, so you can set properties on all these on these entries or these fields. And the other thing is you can use layout view to actually modify the layout as well, right? And don't be scared if you see hash 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 hash, right? Okay, all right. So let's go off to the last activity in a second.